Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'd like to welcome you to a new segment of Living by Design, a program, a course where people of like minds get together to carry out activities, to share ideas, to share and to listen to experiences that help us identify our purpose, be conscious all the time of that purpose, and also helps us design our lives around that purpose. We've talked about the sobering reality of birth, living, death, and purpose. We've also talked about the divine purpose, which is the human purpose, given to us by our designer. We've talked about the title that he has vested in us, Khalifa, how that means one who cares for the earth, one who represents God, his will, brings to life his concepts and his teachings. One who takes the earth from others, cares for it, and passes it on. We've talked about accountability. We've talked about being like a matchstick. Once it's lit, it must eventually go out. What it does between being lit and going out is what matters more, what makes a difference. We've talked about the seeds that have been planted in us and the context in which we've been planted, and how the interplay of the seed and the context and skills that we acquire along the way and how we sharpen these skills all bring to life our purpose when we apply it to a problem. Now we want to say, you've identified your seed, you've looked within your context, you can see which tools exist within your context that can help you fulfill your purpose. You've also looked within your context and you can see the problems that exist in your context and how you can collaborate with others and connect with others to get that seed to flourish and apply to the problem. You know you want to start, you know what you want to do, but there are things that are holding you back, there are things that are in your way. I would like to address the things that could get in your way. There are very many of them, but I will take them one at a time, and some will be part of the discussion when we have our live sessions and our chat forums, inshallah. One thing that could get in your way, which I think is the most important of them, is the voice in your head. When that voice is telling you you can't, who are you to? You dare not. Who would even listen to you? This won't work. When the voice in your head is not moving you forward, but it's pulling you back, you have to speak to that voice in your head. The voice in your head is actually one of the gifts that God gives to all of us. It is a voice that helps us identify things, helps us reflect, helps us walk through ideas, through problems. It's the voice in our head that could guide us. But when that voice is hijacked by negativity, when that voice in our head is hijacked by recklessness, it doesn't move us forward, it doesn't help us live by design, it makes us live in fear or apathy, it holds us back. You have to always become someone who watches, what is the voice in my head saying? And use the voice in your head to tell you you can, because this is a good problem to solve. To tell you you are the one who should, because you have a seed that can be applied here. To tell you when you think, I dare not, that you do not have a choice, but you should do this. So if the voice in your head says you can't, say to it, I can. If it says, who are you to, says, who am I not to? If the voice in your head says, don't even try it, say, I will try it, I might fail, but I will try it. I remember once being hijacked by the voice in my head. This was when, a long while back, in secondary school, I went on stage for the first time to recite a poem I had written. It was during a meeting of literary clubs, literary and debating clubs, in schools in my region. So the hall was full of people. And everybody in that hall, before I started speaking, were, mumbling, chattering. There was kind of a bit of a loud hum in the hall. When I started reciting my poem after introducing myself and saying what school I came from, the hall slowly became quiet. And then I could hear my own voice ringing out in that hall. I had never heard my voice ringing out in a hall that was silent, even though the hall was filled with people. And it freaked me out. I froze. And I was staring and then staring at these eyes, hundreds of eyes, all eyes on me. And the thing was like something I'd never experienced before, and it was frightening. I could no longer remember the lines of my poem. And then I began to feel this sense of embarrassment and shame that I couldn't even remember what I needed to say. I broke down crying. I ran off stage, and I promised I was never going to do that again. That was going on stage to speak. The next time somebody asked me to go on stage to speak, it wasn't really a stage, it was actually to just give a talk in the hostel mosque in university after we had said the prayers during Ramadan. And I refused. In my head, I didn't tell the person I wouldn't. He was the Amir of the association, that's the president of the Muslim Students Association. I respected him too much to tell him to his face, I'm not doing it. But in my head, I said, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing that again. I'm not going on stage again. I'll forget everything I have to say. I'll embarrass myself. And nobody will listen to me anyway. I said to myself a lot of negative things. When it was my turn to speak and my name was called and I wouldn't stand up, a friend next to me kept urging me to stand up. And now I voiced what had been going on in my head. Nobody will listen to me. They won't hear me. Even if they hear me, they're not going to pay attention. And there was another echo in my head also saying, what do I have to say anyway to anybody that's meaningful? But that friend urged me on, and her voice overrode mine. Until I stood up, I spoke. People looked at me, they listened. It was quiet in the praying ground area, but I wasn't as frightened as I was before then because I had this friend supporting me. So when it comes to tackling the voice in your head, sometimes you can't do it alone. You have to get a positive voice with you, a voice that counters all the rubbish that the voice in your head says, until the voice in your head starts learning to echo all that positive, uplifting, encouraging, purposeful stuff. The second thing that may hold you back from pursuing that goal you've identified is the tag you have always worn. You are known as a so-and-so kind of person. You are known as someone who doesn't care about anything. Why should you suddenly start acting like you care? You are known as someone who doesn't help others. Why should you start acting like you help others? You have been known as someone who is very quiet. Why should you suddenly start speaking up? Sometimes the tag is a tag you've given yourself. Sometimes it's a tag others have given you. Maybe because of something you did, someone you were before, how you were, your personality. If that tag wears you down, tear it off. Hold it up from time to time as a story, as an example of how you can strip off a tag and create a new tag for yourself. But don't let it hold you back. There's a story that's told of a man who had killed 99 people. Then his conscience began to trouble him. He started to thirst for God's forgiveness. He went and asked someone, I have killed 99 people, will God forgive me? The person he asked was a scholar. And that person said, 99 people, God can forgive those sins. And so the voice in his head hijacked his conscience, and he thought, I might as well just make it 100, so he killed that scholar. That's what he did. But his conscience woke up again, began to bother him again. He went to another scholar. This scholar was more authentic in his knowledge and understanding of who God is. The scholar knew that God said his mercy overrides, encompasses his anger. So the scholar said to him, God will forgive you. But you know what you need to do? You need to move away from that town where you live. It's not a good place to be. If you want to change, you have to leave that place. He was saying to him, change your context. So this man left that place. On his way to the new town, he died. And as one version of this story goes, when he died, God forgave him because he said his intention was unchanging. Another version of the story goes, when he died, the angel who takes souls to heaven and the angel who takes souls meant for hell were there arguing, where should the man go? Who should take him? And at the end of the day, the decision from God was he should go to paradise. Why? He was headed in this direction. Now, this man had always worn a tag of a murderer. Someone who kills up to 99 people is a serial killer. That is a big tag, a heavy one. But he was ready to rip it off and start afresh. So it doesn't matter what tag people have given you. Don't let it hold you back. If you found the seed within you, you found somewhere to apply that seed within you, and you are able to start connecting with others, to start sharpening that skill. But the thing holding you back is the tag you have always worn, which you have given yourself or others have given you because of who you did, of what you did, who you were. That's in the past. This is the present, and the future is over there. So you rip that tag off, and as you move forward, you design a new tag for yourself. This is where I'll pause on this segment, where we are talking about you want to start, but things are holding you back. We will look at more of these things holding you back, inshallah, in the next segment. It's me, Salatu Sule, Living by Design. Thank you for listening.